We should bump it up to 1.5. Just kidding. Just kidding. Relax. We're on 356. Holy cow. We're on video 356. Why does that sound so much bigger than 350? We're getting close to under 100. We're getting close. Oh, yeah. 5 more minutes of this.
Here. That's it. Up and down. You really use legs and rear. How about one arm with it? Ready? Let's go.
Want to work those buttocks on this one, right?
That's
Get
it.
them out there.
That's it.
Tighten them up.
Let's get the leg moving with it. No, here we go. Here. That's it. That's it. That's it. Okay, biceps. Let's see it. Right here.
Yeah.
Right there. Right there. Yeah. Nice looking arms.
Ooh.
Good deal. Let's take a nice little walk. Okay, how about our step back? Ready?
Okay,
If I had a nickel for every time I heard that. Nice looking arms.
This time, one hand. Here we go. Push. That's it.
push, 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 push,
Both arms. Ready?
push, push.
It's just like those push-ups, isn't it?
Yeah, right from the chest, huh?
How about one overhead?
Ah,
Remember when we did this in warm-up?
Oh,
We talked about
good.
doing it to kind of stretch and use the muscle groups. Now we're doing it for the work. Both arms. Really combining upper and lower body muscle groups. Push hard. Okay, one arm across the chest, take her back. That's it. That's it. Both arms across the chest. That's it. One arm overhead. Here we go. Remember, you don't have to do all this. If you need a little break, take it. Both arms. That's it. Let's do it again. I always take breaks from time to time, have a little drink of water.
take a little rhythm for this one.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. You get the hang of it. Let's put one arm up. There. Push you guys. Push you guys. Both arms. Speaking of breathing, let's take a little walk down and talk about breathing. Remember we talked about the talk sing test? If you can't talk the way I'm talking, now bring the intensity down a little bit. Ready? Let's move on. Right here and down. Here. Now, aside from just looking good, which you're going to do, which you're going to do, which you do already, we are going to develop and strengthen some joints. And the area we're going to work right here is the middle deltoid. Let's go up and hold right here. That's it. All right. That's it right in through here. This is a good one. Look at this. See, not only this, strong shoulders. Well, you look good too. Okay, let's shake it down. Good.
Hey.
Get off those arms a little bit, huh?
That's what I'm talking about.
Wrong. Arms up. Ready.
Whoa.
Head down. Let's have elbow to shoulder parallel to the floor. And let's feel bicep in, tricep out. Squeeze bicep, push tricep.
What's that, huh?
2 more. One more time. Good. Let's take a walk. Okay, not bad, huh? No. Guys,
So heart of mine been broke 1,000 times. Yeah, I'm still singing.
let's go.
Now, this gives me a little problem with my knees to be jumping like this. So like we said, do the alternate. Do something you can do. You don't have to do every exercise. I'm gonna just walk in place.
How about a turn? You want to walk in place and
I
turn?
can do that.
Let's go. Here we go. You
I
know
can
I'm
do
a
this.
boxing fan.
Oh,
You
yes.
know I'm a boxing fan. Get those arms going. This arm. Here we go. Over the top.
Oh, yes.
Over the top. Over the top. That feel good? The whole body do it? Yeah. You know what? Let's combine it. Start right here. Go. How's it feel? Great. Let's take a break. Next one.
Hey, all right.
Let me take a little walk with you.
I got with that little knee problem.
That's it.
No problem. No shame here.
You walk and you want to bring it back up. Let's go. And then hands back up. Let's go. Here we go. Here. When you do this movement, put the elbow right in the rib cage. Now remember, you guys, why we do it. This hand ready? Let's go. We want to involve all the large muscle groups of the upper body. Aerobic activity is continuous rhythmic flexion extension large muscle groups. Let's go.
Hey.
Harder. This won't get it done. If you feel good, let's get it on. Good. Bring it down. Nice work. Oh, yeah. Nice. Let's take a walk. Have a spine point. Let's do another set of push-ups, but this time let's do them this way. And really work the triceps, okay? Let's go. Down. A little bit closer, being underneath the chest. Ready. Let's go. Here.
Well,
That's it.
think I'm gonna have to go for the knees.
I'm right with you, bud. That's it.
And this is no competition here. This is a workout for you to feel better. Just do something. Do what you can do.
That means I can stop now? 2 more, you guys. One more time. Great. Let's bring it back up. Not done yet. Let's go. Very nice, you guys.
Woo! I'm loving it.
Yeah.
Got that little sweat working there too, you know? That's what's nice about it.
Weight falling around here.
Yes.
All right.
Be happy. Be happy about this. Oh, who knows?
you have any additional questions
Just
for the
very
doctor?
brief questions before we get to another video. Doctor, first of all, I want you to assume that that video series of tapes was shot on May 25th, 1994, and all of that was shot in the course of one day with additional taping that day involving the introductory remarks that Mr. Simpson is going to make as part of the ultimate finished product, which I have not shown for purposes of questioning you. First of all, doctor, in viewing this videotape, did you see Mr. Simpson limp as you say he limped, in the same fashion you saw him limp on June 15, 1994, in a situation that led you to describe it as like Tarzan's grandfather?
There was no clear walking sequence in this area, so I can't actually assess that, but he definitely does have a lot of the same disabilities I talked about.
Doctor, my question, excuse me.
I didn't see a walking segment well enough to totally evaluate his gait.
You saw him in a walking maneuver forward and backwards during the course of the exercise, did you not?
Yes, I did.
My specific question then to you again is, sir, did you see any evidence of the same kind of limp that you say you saw on June 15th that led you to describe Mr. Simpson as walking like Tarzan's grandfather?
Josh just sent me something that will put this into context. I'm getting it right now. Oh, it just opened perfectly. I was getting ready to set it all up, and look, it's all set up. All right, I'm going to fast forward a little bit. We're certainly not watching, this is an hour long. So no, we're not. We're just really not. I'm going to, oh, look, there's a big, no, wait, hold on. Oh, no, wait. I'm thinking about what I can do right now, because the music in here might get me. Alright, if the music in here gets me, then I'm going to just cut this part out of this live stream later. Or mute it. I'll mute this part.
Walk her down. Woo. You remember the basketball shuffle?
Oh, yeah. I got it down.
Let's go to it, all right? One more round. Let's hit it. That's it. Hands were up. Here we go with a shot. Now, a little bit of an angle, like this. Here. Over. Now it's step, push. Let's go towards OJ. Ready? Here we go. Shuffle. This way. Rebound, ready. Up, down, up, down. Coming, let's go. Get down there. Shot ready. Here we go. Down.
Okay, just get a job as a server. I swear, this is, it's way, you work out way much more as a server, and you get paid for it. Let's go to this part right here, because this is big bubbles.
Doesn't mean we should ignore our health and our fitness. Now, obviously, these aren't the best clothes to get sweaty in, but here's an at-work workout you can do to help you get through the day. And I guarantee you, you're not gonna work up a big sweat. Now, anytime you get a little stressed out, calm yourself by taking a few deep breaths. Inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth. Now, here's a 5-minute routine you can do that will increase your circulation, relieve some tension, reduce some stress, and hopefully lead to a more productive day. Now, we're gonna start with some shoulder shrugs. Okay, very simple. You just wanna do about 6 or 8 of these. Get some of that tension out of your neck, all right? Then we'll move to an upper back stretch. Just lock those fingers, push them out there, keep your back straight if you can. Oh, yes, feel pretty good, doesn't it? How about some chest contractions? Take your arms, interlock them. You don't want to squeeze your arms down. Just push that chest out there, all right?
Okay. Listen, before he pulls the knife out, we're gonna end it. You really want some stress reduction? Try this. Get your gloves and your beanie. Eat some ice cream. And then, let's go.
In this tape,
Yes or no, doctor?
In this tape, he has an altered cadence, but his limp was definitely more pronounced
Thank
when
you,
I saw him
Josh.
on 6/15/94.
Thank you,
Is your answer that
Josh.
you
That
did
was
not
lovely.
see the limp as you say you saw it on the 15th?
That is correct.
And your answer, doctor?
That is correct.
And doctor, would it be accurate to say that none of the activity that you witnessed in this video segment would create the kind of adrenaline rush that you testified one might expect if a person like Mr. Simpson were enraged? Is that correct?
This video would not create an adrenaline rush, this workout video, unless he were very, very nervous about going in front of the camera to give, some of his prepared lines.
Did Mr. Simpson appear nervous to you in delivering any of his lines?
No, he did not.
And so would it be accurate to say, doctor, that, again, no circumstance here would have caused the kind of adrenaline rush that can lead to exertion beyond normal capability that one might see if a person is in an enraged emotional state? Is that correct?
When a person is in an enraged emotional state, presumably they have more adrenaline than what he would have for this sort of exertion, which the body would still need to call up some mechanism for the exercise. But no, I think that that's a fair statement. He wouldn't have the kind of adrenaline rush you would if hypothetically you were enraged.
Doctor, just a couple other follow-up things. Number one, you found that document, the February 5th, 1995 letter that you sent to Mr. Douglas. You went through your files and you brought it to my attention this morning that you had found it. I just want to make sure that's on the record.
Thank you.
And that is correct.
It was
isn't
misfiled, but it was in the chart, correct.
Okay. Number two, that you have provided to me, yesterday you provided one page, what is page 215 from some textbook describing as the topic clinical picture of rheumatoid arthritis.
Correct?
And you also provided to me two pages 876 and 877 of a chapter 52 from a textbook of rheumatology. The chapter is by a physician, a rheumatologist, is he not, Dr. Edward D. Harris, Jr.?
That's correct.
And doctor, these are some of the materials you relied upon in giving your answers to some of my earlier questions?
They were some of the materials, correct.
Doctor, do you consider Dr. Harris to be a preeminent rheumatologist?
I don't know Dr. Harris. He obviously wrote this chapter, but I can't talk about his qualifications, but he certainly did write this chapter in the book.
Assuming he is a board-certified rheumatologist associated with Stanford University School of Medicine, and presently he's on a sabbatical writing an entire part of a team of doctors writing a whole new textbook on rheumatology. If Dr. Harris had reviewed Mr. Simpson's records that you've provided and the report on the x-ray examinations of Dr. Martell and all of the other materials that you've reviewed and concluded that Mr. Simpson was not suffering an acute episode of rheumatoid arthritis on June 12, 1994, and was not suffering an acute episode of rheumatoid arthritis on June 15, 1994, when you saw him, would you accept Dr. Harris's opinion over your own, given his specialty, assuming that that is in fact his finding?
Sustained.
Your Honor, may I have you heard on that briefly? People versus Bush.
Sustained.
Doctor, again, you don't hold yourself out as a rheumatologist.
No, I don't.
All right. One last thing before getting into another video. You talked about having a test done for toxoplasmosis, correct?
That is correct.
And that was because of something related to a cat?
There was a possibility that there had been a cat at some time.
What was your information
Hedwig,
and the source of the information as well as
yay.
compound question, so let me break it
Thank
down.
you,
Number one,
Hedwig,
did you
thank
receive some
you.
information regarding a cat exposure
It's
on
going
the
to
part
be
of
a
the
year soon.
I'm going to have to go review my notes. That is my recollection, that that he did at some time have exposure to a cat, yes.
Would you please review your notes and see what information you received?
Okay.
And then maybe you can tell us what toxoplasmosis is.
I'm sure the doctor can.
One of the last items on 507.
It is, now, I don't know if it's the entry, the lab report, I can tell you what page.
Why don't you direct the doctor's attention so he doesn't have to spend the whole morning going through his
I
records?
just found it
right.
on a note 6/17/94. The patient he has a positive history of cat exposure.
And what is that history if you received it?
that he has a positive history of cat exposure. I don't remember the exact situation, but apparently that was something that I noted down. Obviously, in the differential of adenopathy of a swollen lymph node, that would probably be a test we would ordinarily do anyway in a wide battery of tests looking for a cause of a swollen lymph gland. And the fact that he had cat exposure may have just heightened whatever small suspicion there existed initially.
My question, though, is, Doctor, did you get specific information? Well, Mr. Simpson, do you have a cat in the house? Or do you have friends whose house you visit where you've been exposed to a cat? When? Any specific information? Did you inquire of him?
Yes, I did.
And what specific information did he give you, Doctor?
He gave me enough information that I felt it was important to run the test that he had been exposed to a cat.
Your Honor, I'll move to strike as non-responsive. The question is, what specific information did he give you? What specific information?
I don't recall the specific information, just enough that I made that note, so I can't answer that exactly.
You didn't write it down?
Yeah, I did write that he had exposure to a cat.
Even if you can't tell us specifically, word for word, in substance, what did he tell you as to when he had such exposure?
Obviously, in order for me to write it down, my feeling must have been that he had had recent exposure to a cat. Typically, I'll write down exposure to a cat, or I would have written down exposure to a kitten since obviously kittens have a higher incidence of transmitting toxoplasmosis. If he had had that, I'm sure I would have noted it, or if he would have changed kitten litters, I also would have noted that, or whether he had exposure to various other sources. But that basically was something that I wrote down, and that's all I really recall on it, just what's in the note there.
Just your custom and practice, though, to write it down would indicate to you what proximity in time to June 15th are you focusing on for such exposure to cause you to run the test?
My recollection that it was a minimal exposure and a relatively past exposure, but again, I don't remember the exact. I would have to speculate on that.
And
I know that we had results that we weren't that worried about.
And there's nothing more that you can recall in substance, even if not specifically,
No,
on
there's
Mr.
not.
Simpson's statement to you regarding cat exposure.
No, there's not.
One last thing, x-rays. I think you said on direct that at least you didn't use one x-ray, but you said x-rays, and I'm not sure it's one or meant to be more than one. Were x-rays taken on June 15, 1994?
Yes, they were.
How many?
Let's not
Two
talk about
X's.
cats.
What area or areas
please.
of the body?
Chest.
Why did you take them?
Trying to further evaluate a possible cause of his lymph node under his right arm.
And what was the result? Did you evaluate the x-rays?
I did, and I had them overread by a radiologist.
A specialist in reading x-rays, is that correct?
Chest X-ray, correct.
The results were?
Normal.
Do you have the reports?
No, I don't.
Was a report generated?
No, I physically brought it to the head chest radiologist at Cedars and asked him.
Doctor, did you ever on the 15th have x-rays taken of Mr. Simpson's knees,
No, I did not.
hands,
No, I did not.
elbows?
No, I did not.
Any of the areas where he may have had past evidence of rheumatoid arthritis?
We don't take orthopedic x-rays in our office, and basically, given the time constraints and the fact that he had no urgent need to see an orthopedist for those problems, given the prioritization of his health problems, those things weren't done.
And no urgent need, including no evidence on June 15th that suggested to you an acute onset of rheumatoid arthritis, correct?
There was evidence of significant joint problems. There was no evidence that getting x-rays would help those joint problems, and that was a cost-efficacious, appropriate thing to do given his schedule and his needs at that time.
So my question is, no evidence of an acute onset of symptoms of rheumatoid arthritis,
Well-
requiring you at that time to have him evaluated.
At that time, all I knew was that he had a rheumatologist and that he had continuing joint pains, and as I've told you before, my suspicion of a flare, slight, or otherwise, really came later when the full details of the case became apparent to me. As I said, when he came in the office, he was limping. He had joint complaints that I elicited, but really that wasn't the focus of his complaints, and I proceeded accordingly based on my assessment of the prioritizations of his health problems.
I have just one more. One last topic, Doctor, another video. I'm going to ask, Your Honor, that a video which has
Sugar,
on the
are you
label
talking to
the
Josh?
letter N-SAT,
It's filters.
SAT number 1,
Filters.
4-5-94,
Not
60
true.
minutes, NSA, William Bearden, B-E-A-R-D-E-N, Company, 31 March 1994, be marked as, I think it's 522.
522, videotape. How long is this videotape?
The segment I am going to play is, I would say, Your Honor, less than I think it's about 10 minutes or less.
All right, proceed.
And
Probably
Your Honor,
not rewound.
if I don't do this now, I'll probably forget. There were several
Pop it in and say, "Oh, damn it, forgot to
duplicated off
rewind
the
it."
Elmo that I did not mark yesterday as exhibits. I'm going to ask that they be marked. Perhaps we can do it at the recess.
No.
Appropriate designation.
He's gonna
I'll ask
pop
Mr.
it in.
Farrell, I had it queued up, too.
It's not gonna be rewound, and he's gonna charge Cochran 50 cents for a rewind fee.
The segment. And Doctor, I'm going to ask you to assume that this is Mr. Simpson at the end of March 1994 at a motivational seminar for a product called Juice Plus. And he's going to be introduced, and he's going to be speaking to a group at this motivational seminar. And the portion I'm going to have Mr. Fairtlow play will include a discussion by Mr. Simpson of his past problems and his present health as he views it.
Oral. Proceed. 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 You've made your objection. It's on the record. Proceed. I take it this is a setup for I take.
It is, Your Honor. I have another objection.
All right, then make it at the recess. Proceed.
Welcome, the Juice, O.J. Simpson. Awesome. Thank you very much. I tell you. All right. Oh, man, all right. Thank you. I get teary. I truly get teary every time I see that tape, you know? I want to play again. I want to be able to play again. That tape gets to me. Like Smokey. I guess Smokey spoke yesterday, and I was just talking to him backstage, and I was asking him, well, what do they want to hear? And Smokey is like me. I'm not really good at giving a lot of speeches. As a matter of fact, I hate hearing speeches, so I tend to get up and battle and, like Smokey, try to say what's on my mind and just try to, talk about something that might be germane to what we're all here for. He asked me to sort of explain how I got involved with Juice Plus. And for some of you who were at Memphis a few weeks ago, this might be a little redundant, so I'll go through it as quickly as I can to let the ones that weren't there know how I originally got involved with this product. I was at a time where I was having a pretty tough time because I got hit by what they call, some of you might have it as rheumatoid arthritis. I had the beginnings of rheumatoid arthritis, and I was having really a tough time. I actually had mornings that I could not open my door. I could not turn my wrist because my wrists, my fingers, my elbows would all get swollen up. They had me on, you name it, Naprosyn, Indocin, Motrin. I had so much Motrin, you couldn't even believe, every day. This was my life. And my neighbor's a guy named Frank Joel, who may be the best orthopedic surgeon in the world. He rebuilt Tommy John's arm and stuff. He's telling me about this simple little operation that they can do in both my wrists to relieve some of the pain. And I know this is something we don't really get into in this product. We can't really talk about. So when he's telling me about all of this stuff, and I'm thinking about it, because one thing that I can't do anymore, because I've gone to a nutritionist, is I can't drink orange juice. That's the only reason Rush Limbaugh got that job in Florida, is because I can't drink orange juice anymore. Yeah. Stuff like orange juice and grapefruit juice and tomatoes, if any of you have arthritis out there, that's almost the worst stuff that you can put in your body because of the acidity that's involved in it. And I was one of these guys who drank the orange juice every day. So as he's telling me about it, I said, I'm going to have to try this stuff. I said, well, I'll call home and get him to send it to me. Well, he said, no, I got it right here. He had a whole bag of it right there. So for the next few months, along with, once again, changing my diet and stuff, I started taking regularly Juice Plus. And started feeling, I don't know, it was mind over matter, it was a mental thing, but almost immediately I started feeling better. All of a sudden I was getting another 10 yards on my drive and then before I knew it, I just started skipping the Naprosyn and skipping the Indocin and skipping the pain pills, the Advil. I mean, I was one of these guys with 6, 7 Advils a day, and until a day where I don't have to take anything. And my thought at the time was, I contacted Smokey, we talked, and I said, hey man, how can I become a distributor of this stuff? I said, you guys are gonna make a fortune with this product. I wanna get involved. And it was about that time that he said, well, why don't you come work for us? And he had evidently talked to John Blair in the interim, and John called, and we had a meeting in New York. They flew up to New York, and we talked, and once again, I'm trying to figure out how I could become a distributor of this product. And they're saying to me, John says, well, that might be tough, but why don't you come on board with the parent company, and why don't you become a teammate of all our distributors? Why don't you get out there and help all our distributors, and we make what you allow.
I'd ask Mr. Farrell to stop the tape at that point. Doctor, you've had a chance, obviously, to listen to that. The history is given by Mr. Simpson of his present medical status, where he no longer had to take any of the pain medication. Would that suggest somebody who is in a condition better than, as you described him based on his walk, Tarzan's grandfather.
At the time he made this tape, which you have told me was 494,
No, I said, Your Honor, I'm sorry, Doctor, I said at the end of March 1994,
the end of March, okay.
or approximately 2.5 months before you saw him.
Okay. It sounded like, based on his statements, if you can believe everyone that makes an advertisement, certainly being around the Raiders, we used to laugh about it in the locker room, the products that they would support and do something totally different, including wearing shoes that were totally different than the sponsor that they were endorsing on TV and taping over the logo, and various other vitamin products which they readily admitted were worthless that they then went out and pitched. However, if you assume that pitchmen can be taken at their word, then I think obviously he was doing better, but it's very misleading when he says he had acute flares of rheumatoid arthritis, which is based on the history I have gotten from Dr. Maltz and Dr. Job, something that they both felt. Again, I wasn't there. It's very difficult for your doctor, with all due respect, to make a diagnosis on paper. Medicine isn't practiced that way. Usually what you do is you take a history and you do an examination, and then you come to a diagnosis. And fortunately, medicine hasn't gotten to the stage yet where you call up a professor that writes a chapter, and over the phone, you make a diagnosis. We still do rely on history and physical in medicine, at least to the best of my knowledge, based on my training at Harvard. However, it is very misleading because if you believe the rheumatologist, if you believe the orthopedist, and I have no reason to doubt their reports stating that when they both last saw him in 1993 in July, he was having an acute flare of rheumatoid arthritis, which was so severe he had difficulty bending down to tie his shoe. But I have no reason to doubt their report. And if you believe that report, and if you believe that the medication he was on, sulfasalazine, has some disease-remitting qualities, is a disease-modifying agent in rheumatoid arthritis, it's not surprising that he might be doing quite well, because at that time that he gave that motivational speech, he was on a significant anti-rheumatoid arthritis medication. Also, the disease rheumatoid arthritis, again, I'm just a jack of all trades, and I probably wouldn't know, has a fluctuating course. And that's really would be my comment on that tape.
Doctor, you were apprised this tape was going to be played before you came into court this morning, didn't you?
I've never seen that tape.
Well, you were told that there was going to be a motivational speech tape played of Mr. Simpson making this, didn't you?
I was never told this tape was going to be played by anyone.
Did you prepare that answer in advance, expecting
No, I
a
did not.
question?
No, I did
All right.
not.
Let me ask it this way then, Doctor. You're saying that Mr. Simpson was merely a pitchman who was lying to the people there because what he said about his health was not true, based on your experience with the Raiders. Is that what you're saying, Doctor?
I'm giving all those as possibilities. I
Are
do
you
not know
saying,
his condition.
excuse me, Your Honor,
He is entitled to finish his answer.
if it's responsive, I suggest...
Well, I didn't even hear, I heard 4 words out of the doctor's mouth.
I'm sorry, I thought I heard the end of the sentence.
Doctor, go ahead and finish your answer.
Could you repeat the question?
Doctor, you are saying, are you not, that Mr. Simpson, when he's giving his medical condition up there, is lying to those people? That, in fact, that does not represent his condition. Isn't that what you're saying by relating this to your experience with the NFL players?
Sustain, rephrase the question.
Doctor, you're suggesting that Mr. Simpson is not being truthful with these people regarding his medical condition because he views himself as a pitchman for a product, as a result of which he's willing to say things that are not true to please the people paying him to make the speech. Is that what you're suggesting?
Overruled.
You may answer the question, Doctor.
I cannot get inside Mr. Simpson's head. I do know that he had a lack of understanding of his rheumatoid arthritis. He constantly denied the fact that he had rheumatoid arthritis. He did not want to see himself as a arthritic patient.
I think you should take supplements. For example, after 5 o'clock, it's vodka, but before 5 o'clock, I supplement it with orange juice too. It's called balance.
And so I can't say whether it was a full lack of understanding of his disease that led him to not understand the possible effect of the anti-rheumatoid arthritis medication he was taking at the time of that speech, or whether he was knowingly misrepresenting to make money. I have no idea, and I'm not qualified to say.
Well, Doctor, if he was being truthful about his condition, that he wasn't making false statements just to please somebody paying him, then, in fact, he is saying his condition is such, I don't need the pills anymore, as of this time. Isn't that what he's saying?
Sustain.
Doctor, by the way, you were in the courtroom yesterday afternoon when I read a summary, a transcript summary of what was going to be played this morning when we were discussing this as being the last piece of evidence that I would use in cross-examining you. You were in the courtroom, weren't you, sir?
I have no idea.
Overruled. You can answer the question.
I don't know if I was in the courtroom or not because I didn't hear what you said, so I'm not sure where I was since I didn't. How would I know if I was in the courtroom if I didn't hear what you said?
Doctor, did you leave the courtroom before the courtroom was cleared of all press yesterday afternoon at the completion of court business? That you left before the press left the courtroom?
I left after everyone filed out.
And so, Doctor, is it your statement here that if this was a motion argued in the presence of the press, with a representation made by me to the court as to what this videotape was going to say, if you were here, you didn't hear what I was saying at the time I was making this offer of proof to the court?
Overruled.
You may answer the question, Doctor.
I did not hear or follow any motion you made or follow that whatsoever, no.
Now, Doctor, you said that you wouldn't rely upon a Dr. Harris, and I represent, he's a board-certified rheumatologist and a preeminent expert in the field of rheumatology.
Overruled.
You said you wouldn't rely on that over Dr. Maltz and Dr. Job, who saw him. Is that correct?
I said I would not rely on any individual who reviewed a chart without doing an appropriate history and physical at that time and seeing the patient.
In general, Doctor, would you rely on a board-certified rheumatologist over a doctor who held himself out as a rheumatologist who was neither board-certified in internal medicine or in rheumatology?
Overruled.
As Dr. Maltz, in fact, is?
Sustained.
As an offer of proof.
Sustained.
All right, I'll leave out that last phrase and ask the doctor to answer it.
Rephrase the question,
All
counsel.
right. Doctor, would you, all things being equal, rely upon an evaluation by a board-certified rheumatologist over an opinion offered on an issue of rheumatology, rheumatoid arthritis, from a person who was an orthopedic surgeon or a person who held himself out as a specialist in rheumatology who was neither board-certified in internal medicine or board-certified in rheumatology?
Sustained.
Doctor, would you accept the opinion of someone holding himself out as a rheumatologist who was not board certified in either internal medicine or in rheumatology over the opinion of a specialist board certified in rheumatology on the issue of a rheumatoid arthritis acute onset?
The whole issue of experts
I
is
love
very different.
garlic.
In medicine, you have to see the patient.
Overruled. He can answer the question.
All right.
There are various definitions of an expert, but basically any doctor, to be an expert, obviously needs to be very knowledgeable, needs to have appropriate training, needs to be have shown proficiency in what he does, and needs to, in addition, have other traits, including caring about people and things of that nature. I mean, there are other definitions of an expert, and just to give you an idea, at Harvard, you know, there's a mean streak in there, and I remember a student being told, you know, an expert is a bastard from Boston with slides. Just because you've got a big degree doesn't mean everything. You need to see a patient. You need to do the building blocks of medicine, and that's a history, and that's a physical examination, and an evaluation of all the results. I still think that is the way to practice medicine. I do not know of the other specialists. All things considered, the more training, the more proficiency is superior. But I think it's very dangerous to compare credentials and base a diagnosis based on who's got the longest CV. I think that's a dangerous step. That's my own personal opinion.
Doctor, you have Dr. Job's records, do you not?
Yes, I do.
Would you pull out, if you would, his one-page evaluation from July 13th, 1993?
I can find it.
Albert, do you have that immediately available, an extra copy?
Mine is marked, which I have no problem in showing the doctor.
Save us.
Stay up here, too.
You may. Save us a little time here.
Now, Doctor, this is the last report from Dr. Job, the orthopedic surgeon, prior to your evaluation of June 15th, 1994, correct?
Yes, it is.
And it's dated July 13th of 1993, is that correct?
That's correct.
And it indicates that certain x-rays were taken of Mr. Simpson's right elbow, correct?
That is correct.
And it indicates that in the opinion of Dr. Job, that the x-rays are within normal limits but show early findings of rheumatoid arthritis. Is that correct?
That's what it says here, correct.
Now, doctor, did you receive a copy of a June 28, 1995, two-page report from a Dr. William Martell, a doctor with the University of Michigan, the letter directed to Dr. Maltz?
Yes, I received a copy of that.
And in essence, Dr. Martell is a specialist in radiology, which you've identified already as people who specialize in reading x-rays.
That is correct.
And in essence, what Dr. Maltz had asked is for Dr. Martell to review the available x-rays of Mr. Simpson from 91, 92, and 93. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And there were no other x-rays after the 93 x-rays to provide that dealt with the areas in question, the hands, the wrists, the feet, the elbows, correct?
That's correct.
Now, with respect to what Dr. Job has indicated as x-ray findings of the right elbow showing normal limits but early findings of rheumatoid arthritis, was a reading of that x-ray also taken by Dr. Martell? And I'll show you the report. And, Your Honor, may this be marked as 522, please?
How about 523?
523, I'm sorry.
What's the date on that letter?
The letter is dated June 28, 1995 to Dr. Maltz.
All right, this is by Dr. Martell, however.
Correct.
All right. 5/23.
And these elbow x-rays, are those from Maltz's office or Job's office? Do we know?
Well, doctor, what is the date that is shown on those x-rays?
The date is July 13, 1993, and he was seen by both Dr. Job and Dr. Maltz on that same day. So I don't know whose x-rays, but it probably doesn't make a difference.
All right, well, since you've said it doesn't probably make a difference, did you find any indication by Dr. Martell of his assessment of the elbows?
He did make an assessment of the elbows.
And what did he indicate in his assessment of the elbows?
His assessment of the elbows, frontal and lateral views of both elbows, showed no significant abnormalities. However, as I'm sure you're aware...
Your Honor, I'll move to strike as non-responsive.
All right. Next question.
Did you also, by the way, receive from Dr. Maltz a copy of a July handwritten chart entry for an evaluation of Mr. Simpson in the county jail?
I assume I did.
May I have just a moment, Your Honor, to find...
I have a smell of Japanese cherry blossoms. Bed Bath & Beyond. Bath and Body Works. One of those two. I don't freaking know.
That's why we have Post-its.
I'm sorry?
That's why we have Post-its.
In the county, it's kind of sometimes tough to find them.
Did you just say he works for the county so he can't find a Post-it? Get him, Judge. Get him. Delay of. Give him a 5-yard penalty. Sanctions.
I believe this is the one I wish to use. Yes, I believe so, Your Honor. I'm going to have to get a clean copy, and I will get it from another source. But I would ask that this document, which has the counting number 505, be marked as 524.
All right, and what is this?
It appears to be a handwritten note of Dr. Maltz's, a rheumatology note, and because of the copy that was provided to the prosecution, I cannot be certain what the month date is, but the day is 2/94. And I'm going to show, perhaps, Doctor, at a break, if we get there, you have a chance to find your copy, maybe it'll have the month. This is Dr. Maltz's handwritten note of an evaluation of Mr. Simpson, is that correct?
That is correct.
And I want to invite your attention to the second paragraph. Can you read what Dr. Maltz has written there?
The copy's a little bit poor. You're going to have to help me there.
Does it appear to be main problem presently is classical increased activity of his rheumatoid disease, with the left knee being his major limiting factor in terms of pain. I can't make out the next word. And swelling.
Gel?
The word that we can't make out may be gel. Let me back it up. What I read to begin with, does that sound what it appears to you to be? Main problem presently is classical increased activity of his rheumatoid disease, with the left knee being his major limiting factor in terms of pain, the word we can't decipher, and swelling.
Yes.
And that indicates to you, does it not, Doctor, that Dr. Maltz, believe that Mr. Simpson has evidence of rheumatoid arthritis in his left knee, correct?
I'm not sure that's what it said, no.
Well, Doctor, doesn't it say...
It says he has evidence. This is my interpretation. You'll have to ask Dr. Maltz. It'd probably be more appropriate. But if I read that, it says he's got evidence of rheumatoid arthritis with, and this is a different part, his left knee being his major limiting factor. That's how I read it, but you may have read it differently.
Well, don't you read it as the relationship between the rheumatoid arthritis and the limiting aspect on his left knee?
We have to ask Dr. Maltz that. I wouldn't assume that.
Well, let's ask you to look then at Dr. Martell's report and see if in the summary he evaluates the left knee x-rays for evidence of inflammatory disease, which rheumatoid arthritis would be. Isn't that correct?
Rheumatoid arthritis is an inflammatory disease.
And in the summary, with respect to the left knee, does he not say the following? The abnormality noted in the left knee is degenerative rather than inflammatory in nature and probably secondary to earlier trauma.
That's what's said here.
And that would indicate that Mr. Simpson, at least based upon that x-ray, does not show evidence of rheumatoid arthritis in the left knee joint, but rather has the effects of osteoarthritis from previous trauma, correct?
There's definitely osteoarthritis in his left knee, but we have a biopsy that is strongly consistent with rheumatoid arthritis of the synovium taken in 1991. So I think there's some question about that, and there are some subtleties that I certainly am not, in a position to discuss with you.
Well, Dr. Martell, you would agree, is an expert in radiology, which you are not.
That is correct.
And according to his report, the left knee does not show evidence of inflammatory disease. It shows osteoarthritis. Right?
That is correct. However, as the elbow, sometimes you can have rheumatoid arthritis in a joint and not have x-ray changes. So I would be very careful. And again, I don't want to present myself as an expert, but I wouldn't jump to simple conclusions based on the fact that an x-ray shows degenerative, not rheumatoid arthritis, that joint cannot be involved with by and in rheumatoid arthritis.
All right, Mr. Kelber, we're going to need to take our break.
All right, thank you, Your Honor.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our mid-morning recess at this time. Remember all my admonitions to you. Doctor, you can step down. You're ready to come back in 15 minutes. Let me see the counsel with the court, please.
Oh, sanctions. Judge, if you did sanctions off the air,
Simpson matter,
that's
all
not
parties
fair.
again present. Mr. Kelberg, did you find that document you needed?
I'm satisfied that the document I showed him is the area I wanted to inquire on.
And what area is this? What area is this, Mr. Kelberg?
I'm trying to suggest to the court that I don't think I'm going to have any more examination.
Okay, good. That's it?
Just to mark the exhibits.
All right.
We're so stipulated.
Let's have the jurors, please.
Bye, guys. I'll be back in a few minutes. Be good. Behave. Oh, look. Look. As soon as I have to get up and go, it doesn't look like we have a lot of sidebars. We just have to get through this one. There we go.
A part of the
Be right
photograph
back.
of 516, I'd ask to be marked as 516A.
516A.
The another photograph that showed that abrasion to the left thumb from photograph 518B be marked as 518 double B, as in boy.
So marked.
And we have a clean copy of the July 13th, 1993 report, Your Honor. And I'm sorry, I did lose track of the designations. I believe that was going to be 523. Dr. Job's one
I
page.
have that. I have 523 as the 628 Dr. Martell.
Okay, then it's the exhibit number right after the video, I believe. It should be the next in order, and the video
Well,
was
the
motivational video.
motivational video I have is 522. Mr. Robertson, does that correlate with your?
So 523, Your Honor, would be then Dr. Martell's report.
Correct. I have 524 as a handwritten note of Dr. Maltz.
Okay. Then let me make, if I didn't specifically make Dr. Job's one-page July 13th, 1993 typewritten document as 525.
All right, Dr. Job's note.
And with that, Your Honor, I have no further questions.
Thank you. Mr. Shapiro.
Thank you very much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning again, Dr. Heisinger.
Morning.
Dr. Heisinger, are you familiar with the term forensic medicine?
Yes, I am.
And are you familiar with the term forensic physician?
Yes, I am.
What is your understanding of that term, or those terms?
Those are terms that deal with the study of things that happen essentially after death, with an obvious bent towards law and, pathology of medicine as it relates to that.
And the term forensic, as it applies in the court setting, deals with people who deal with legal issues related to their specialty. Is that correct?
Correct.
Is that your understanding?
Yes.
Is that something you do?
No, it's absolutely not what I do.
Is that something you want to do?
No, no desire whatsoever.
I take it that your primary focus is the private practice of medicine.
That is correct.
Now, you've indicated that you graduated from Harvard Medical School. At the time you went to Harvard Medical School, how was that rated in the spectrum of medical schools in the country?
I think in terms of the rating by the deans and the difficulty in getting in, it was probably the hardest school to get in.
And upon graduation, you applied for a residency.
That is correct.
And are there different residencies around the country?
There are many different residencies around the program, around the country, right?
And just like schools, do residencies differ in their programs and their prestige?
Again, it's difficult to exactly quantitate, but there's different levels of prestige and levels of quality and difficulty in getting in.
And where did you take your residency?
At Cedars-Sinai Hospital, as a subset of the UCLA medical system.
And is that here in Los Angeles?
Yes, it is.
And how was that program rated at the time you were accepted?
That was very highly regarded at that time.
How many residents were in the program when you were there?
There were approximately 30.
And is there a position called chief resident?
Yes, there is.
What is that position?
Typically, 2 individuals from that class are chosen to teach the oncoming residents and to lead morning report and to round with the younger residents for educational purposes.
And on what basis are the chief residents selected?
Well, presumably they're chosen by the chief of medicine based on whoever shows the most promise in terms of teaching and other physician attributes.
In terms of teaching, in addition to your private practice of medicine, have you maintained any teaching positions?
Yes, I have.
What teaching positions have you maintained?
As a clinical professor of medicine at UCLA.
And what subjects have you taught to the students at UCLA in medical school?
Introduction to medicine, as well as attending for medical students and the residents on ward rounds.
Now, you've told us also that you were a doctor for the Los Angeles Raiders, a football team.
Yes, I was.
How many other doctors had that position for teams in the Los Angeles area?
There was one other team in the Los Angeles area, and there was one other internist for that team. And then during my tenure with the Los Angeles Raiders, there was also another football team that was there temporarily, so there was an internist for that team as well.
Is that viewed as a prestigious position?
I believe it's viewed as a prestigious position.
And it's the type of job many doctors would like to get?
I believe that's true.
And you resigned from that position?
Yes, I did.
And you resigned because of your integrity?
I resigned.
Your Honor, leading and suggesting.
Rephrase the question.
Why did you resign from that position after how many years? How many years did you serve in that position?
I served in that position for 8 years.
And why did you resign from that position?
I resigned from that position because the team owner would not listen when I described in detail an incident that happened with the team orthopedist regarding an incident where a player was temporarily paralyzed and essentially, to make a very tragic story short, was told face to face by the orthopedic surgeon after he had information that said there was a problem in his cervical spine, that he was potentially at higher risk, according to numerous specialists of the neck, orthopedic neck specialists and neurosurgeons. He was looked at by the team orthopedist in his face and said, based on that x-ray, you're okay, you can play next week. And of course, I, as all these types of problems, went behind the scenes and made sure he got other opinions. But when the owner didn't back my position on this, that's why I resigned.
As a matter of personal integrity?
Yes, it was.
And do you value that?
Yes, I do.
How do you value that? How highly? How strongly? Are you concerned
That's all
about
I
your
have as a
integrity?
physician, is my reputation, which I've worked hard to build over the last 21 years since I entered medicine.
In the private practice of medicine, do you function as an individual doctor for the purposes of your own income?
Yes, I do.
And how long have you done that?
I've been in a private practice since approximately 1983, 1984.
I've been reminded that some people might have some difficulty hearing. Would you be kind enough to maybe move
Sure.
the microphone a little bit further? And you are in what's called a group of doctors?
Yes, we share office
So
space.
you share the overhead?
Correct.
But your patients and your income is your own?
That is correct.
And one of the doctors that you share office space with is my personal physician, Robert Copeland?
That is correct.
Are there other doctors there?
There are other doctors there.
And are they similarly involved in internal medicine?
Yes, they are.
And in the degree of reputation, what is the reputation of the group of doctors that you're with?
I believe we have an absolutely impeccable reputation.
What are the other doctors who are included in your group now that practice out of the same office?
Dr. Derwin,
What's his first name?
Arnold,
Okay, and who else?
that's it for
So
right now.
the three doctors. As a private practitioner, the source of your income for which you rely upon a living is patients.
That is correct.
Do you advertise to get patients?
No, I do not advertise.
Do you solicit patients?
No, I do not.
How do you get patients to build a medical practice?
Basically, over a period of time, individuals that feel you're providing them high-quality medicine will refer acquaintances, friends, or family members.
And was that the case with O.J. Simpson?
That was the case with O.J. Simpson.
He was referred by someone who knew you,
That is correct.
and that was myself.
That's correct.
And you have no experience in crime scene investigations, do you?
None whatsoever.
And you've told this jury already that you have never before testified in a case.
That is correct.
Do you ever want to testify again in a case?
I think one may be enough here.
What was your focus when you saw O.J. Simpson on the 15th of June, 1994?
I think my focus was the same focus I have with every patient, and that's that I sit them down in my office and ask them, what are your problems, and try to figure out if there are any other things going on that they may not be aware of, and essentially formulate a plan for their health. I, approached him like I approach every other patient in my office, and really, besides requesting from you a photographer, given the fact that you told me on the phone he had cuts, really did nothing else different than I would do for another first-time office visit, thorough physical examination.
So what you're saying is, in addition to the general examination that was requested by the patient, there was something additional, and that was to take photographs.
It's a standard physical question.
Would you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, in addition to the history and physical examination of Mr. Simpson, was there something additional that was requested by myself?
Yes, there was.
What was that?
Photographs of his hands.
Photographs of anything else, any other part of his body?
The remainder of the body as well, to document whether or not there were any other injuries.
Outside of that, was there anything else that was requested of you when you saw Mr. Simpson as a patient that was out of the ordinary?
No, there was not.
Has there been, have you met with anybody in preparation for your testimony here today?
I talked with you on the phone on Thursday for approximately, you came to my office on Thursday evening for approximately 15 to 20 minutes on Thursday night. I finished up seeing patients at approximately 7:30 to 8 o'clock on Thursday night. I had not prepared whatsoever any special material, and you came and gave me an idea what sorts of things you would be asking on Thursday evening. Before that, I had one meeting at Mr. Cochran's office somewhere around the 1st where there were a group of attorneys. You were present as well as other attorneys, and I stood up and gave a brief summary of Mr. Simpson's medical problems.
And then you also watched the video
And
with
Sunday,
the lawyers.
which was in the middle of it, you said prepared before, Sunday in the middle of his testimony, I went and watched the video that, actually didn't get to see this video, I saw the final product.
Were you given any instructions by myself or any other lawyer as to how to testify in this case?
Yes, I was.
And what were those instructions?
Tell the truth.
Have you in any way tried to mislead this jury based on your medical findings and observations of Mr. Simpson on June the 15th?
No, I haven't.
Have you in any way compromised your integrity?
I don't believe I have.
Now, as a physician, do you develop a rapport with your patients?
Yes, I do.
And do you care about your patients?
Yes, I do.
And would you say that's true of your relationship with Mr. Simpson?
Yes, it is.
Do you care about Mr.
Yes,
Simpson?
I do.
And do you care about his state of health?
Yes, I do.
Based on the standard practices for physicians in the Beverly Hills, West Los Angeles area, is there a general standard of practice for a first evaluation of a patient?
Yes, there is.
Would you relate to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what that is?
Generally, when you see a first-time new patient, you sit them down in your office and talk for approximately a half an hour to 45 minutes to even an hour, and essentially then move and do a physical examination that typically takes somewhere around a half an hour to complete. And then the nurse gets the patient either in the middle of that process or at the end to do all the vital signs, to draw blood for tests, to do chest x-rays, to do a hearing test and a vision test if that is needed. And then essentially, occasionally, if it's appropriate, other things may be done, such as seeing a dietitian in the office.
Now, your specialty is internal medicine?
Yes, it is.
Is that also known as general medicine?
Yes, it is.
Would you explain to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what that entails, and what
Well-
your function is as a doctor in that area?
Basically, you are someone, a family doctor, quote unquote, is someone who did their 4 years of medical school, did 1 year of internship, and then he hangs his shingle. An internist basically does that first year where you kind of take all comers, but then you do an additional 2 years where you do essentially the same thing to hopefully get a little bit more understanding of those problems. And then, in my case, I did an extra year of chief residency, all basically evaluating every different subspecialty. So my role is to try to see if I can take care of all of your problems. Obviously, there's certain, I might be better in kidney disease and not so great in dermatology, or I might be very good in orthopedics for an internist and not so great in something like rheumatology. And then you basically, if you can handle their problems and you feel comfortable with their complaints, the buck stops there. You make the decisions and you devise a treatment plan. If that's not the case, then you make arrangements to have them see a second opinion, a subspecialist who you're going to know something about that area, but they hopefully will know somewhat more, and then you refer them to that appropriate specialist.
And approximately how many subspecialists are there that you would refer people to, just generally?
In terms of the classes of subspecialties, probably 15 or 20, although you can get very technical and you can break down some subspecialties, even something like orthopedics, into people that do mostly ankles, knees, or shoulders, or neck, or back. But I would say 15 or 20 is a pretty good estimate.
Now, regarding O.J. Simpson, did you conduct the examination that you described to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury as being a proper initial patient evaluation?
Yes, I did. Possibly because it, I believe, took about 2 hours, maybe in terms of doing the history and in terms of including time for the photographs, maybe it went an extra 15, 30 minutes over what I would normally spend because we were pushed back, as I said, an hour into our afternoon.
Now, in terms of a physical examination, is there any real limitation on what a doctor can do in examining a human being?
No, basically what you do is you start out and there's a standard examination. In other words, if you look at, say, something like the stomach, you can just do the routine things, which might be to listen to see if there's bowel sounds, to see if the intestines, the abdomen is symmetrical, to feel if there are any masses or there's any tenderness, or to, obviously, I think I mentioned already, listen. If any of those are abnormal, that's the screening, let's just say, of the abdomen. Look, listen, palpate. If any of those are abnormal, then for each abnormality, there are 10 more things that you could then move into. But there's, you know, you can't do every test on every person, or you essentially would be there for 12 hours.
I mean, there are some examinations that perhaps the President of the United States would get on a yearly examination, or heads of other states that might require a hospitalization and a battery of tests over a period of days. Isn't that correct?
Your Honor, leading, argumentative, and irrelevant.
It is, but I'll allow the answer because it'll be yes or no.
Yes?
So there are limitations within an initial examination. Did you feel that within those limitations, a proper initial examination was done of Mr. Simpson?
Yes, I did. In addition to which, again, dictating the report would be a little bit unusual. Usually you take cryptic notes and just noting certain things. So that would be the only other unusual thing about this evaluation.
Now, in doing an initial evaluation, are there certain areas that you do not go into in depth unless you find problems?
Yes.
And if you find problems, is it then your job to see if the person is being treated by somebody in those areas?
Yes.
Did you find, first let me ask you, when people see, do you have patients that see you on a routine basis?
Yes, I do.
You're called their regular doctor?
That is correct.
And do they come in for annual examinations?
Yes, they do.
In your history, did you find out whether O.J. Simpson had such a doctor in the last 5 years?
I did find that information out.
And what was that information?
He does not have a regular doctor that he saw on regular basis for internal medicine.
But he did have specialists that he saw?
Yes, he did.
Now, you've told us that you are, in response to a question by Mr. Kelberg, are you board certified in emergency medicine?
No, I am not.
Are you board certified in any type of medicine?
Internal medicine.
And that's what you practice?
That's correct.
And that's the reason Mr. Simpson saw you?
That is correct.
He,
Sustain. Rephrase that last
did
one.
Mr. Simpson see you for sutures on an emergency basis of his finger?
No, he did not.
What did he see you for?
Mr. Simpson saw me for an acute stress reaction, situational depression, difficulty sleeping.
And from that, you took a history?
That is correct.
And did that lead you to investigate other areas of his health during
Yes,
that
it did.
history? And investigating other areas of his health, you have told us that he had a condition and a disease known as arthritis.
That is correct.
Now, you've been cross-examined for about 2 days by Mr. Kelberg on arthritis.
Correct.
Are you a specialist in arthritis?
No, I am not.
If Mr. Simpson had no other doctor, and you were the first person who saw this condition, would you have referred him to someone else?
Yes, I would.
And what would you have referred him for?
Arthritis.
And you would refer him to a specialist in that area.
That's correct.
And regarding the orthopedic condition, now let me just ask you this. Was there, after that examination for 2 days, is there any question in your mind as of June 15th, 1994, whether or not O.J. Simpson suffered from arthritis?
No, there's no question in my mind.
How certain are you of that?
I'm as certain as I can be.
Would you say within a reasonable degree of medical certainty?
Yes, I would. They say something, in medicine, when you're standing in Montana and you hear hoofbeats coming behind you, it could be zebras, but it's horses. I mean, that's what you have to see. And in his case, he had absolutely without question, multiple areas where he had arthritis.
Is there anything in the 2 days of examination by Mr. Kelberg going over all minutia, all the reports, every
Sustain. It's argumentative. Phrase the question.
Is there anything in the 2 days of examination of Mr. Kelberg on the issue of arthritis that changes your opinion as to whether or not on June 15th Mr. Simpson suffered from arthritis?
No.
Did you do a physical examination of the joints of Mr. Simpson?
Yes, I did.
And did you come to any conclusions regarding his orthopedic condition?
He had abnormal joints on examination.
If Mr. Simpson did not have a specialist in an orthopedist, would you have referred him to one?
Yes, I would have.
Are you familiar with the name of the orthopedist that Mr. Simpson was seeing, Dr. Frank Jobe?
Yes, I am.
What is his reputation?
He is, by reputation, one of the best sports orthopedic surgeons in the country.
If, as a hypothetical, that a doctor of Dr. Jobe's reputation, education, and experience evaluated Mr. Simpson and referred him to a rheumatologist named Dr. Bertram Maltz, would you, as a doctor, expect your patient, Mr. Simpson, to follow that advice and go see Dr. Maltz?
Overruled.
Yes, I would.
And to your knowledge, was that done?
Yes, it was.
And was that done 3.5 years ago?
Yes, it was.
And to your knowledge, was Mr. Simpson treated for the last 3.5 years for arthritis?
Yes, he was.
And do you believe that that was to set up some type of defense for a crime that would be committed 5 years or 4 years later?
I would not believe that, no.
Do you believe it was some type of charade to fool Dr. Maltz 3.5 years ago that he was suffering from a condition and treated for a condition that he didn't have?
No.
Do you have any doubt about that?
No.
You have told us that as a team doctor, many athletes don't want to admit injuries because that would prevent them from playing. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And that would be your job, whether or not somebody was capable of playing or not. Isn't that true?
If it was on a non-orthopedic, non-joint problem, yes.
So you are used to people not giving you a complete, accurate history. Is that correct?
Yes, I am.
And would you say you may be more used to that than ordinary doctors who practice internal medicine because of your experience in the NFL?
I believe that's an accurate statement.
And your experience in the NFL as a internist, how many other doctors were acting in a professional capacity advising teams in the National Football League when you were involved?
There were somewhere in the 70 to 80 range in terms of doctors that were affiliated with the 28 professional NFL football teams.
And is there an organization of those doctors?
Yes.
There an organization of
Yes,
doctors?
there is.
And did you maintain any position within that organization?
Yes, I did.
What position did you maintain?
In 1987, I was elected vice president, president-elect, and was president of the NFL Physician Society from 1989 to 1991.
Now, Mr. Kelberg went through part of your curriculum that I did not bring up, and that was things that you have done on television and on radio.
Correct.
Were you selected to appear in certain venues on radio and television because of your expertise?
Sustain. Phrase the question.
Do you know why you were selected to appear on certain radio and television shows?
I believe so.
And what is your belief?
Sustain.
What areas did you discuss on radio and television?
Typically issues revolving around medicine and sports.
And is that something that you believe you have an expertise
been essentially all sports as it contains medicine.
Anything in the past that you talked about on radio or television?
In the past, I have been hired by several shows to go on for a 2 or 3 minute blurb to talk about general medical issues on a revolving basis.
Would you say that substantially almost all of your income comes from your private practice of medicine, not from talking on radio or television?
That's correct.
And not from writing a book?
That is correct.
In fact, were people highly critical in the Football League of the book that you wrote?
Actually not. I think that on one team they were critical. The
What team
owners,
was that?
The Los Angeles Raiders.
And why were they critical?
It's a state. I think the jury can figure that out.
Well, maybe they don't know Mr. Davis, Your Honor.
They can figure it out.
Thank you.
All right. They're all nodding yes, they figured it out.
Now, Mr. Kelberg made a big issue and waived this.
Sustained. Rephrase the question.
Mr. Kelberg showed you a letter that is dated February 5th, 1995. May I show this to the witness? Which had a post-it over it. And that post-it was a question to my colleague, Mr. Carl Douglas. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Now, did you send that letter to myself and Mr. Douglas
Yes, I did.
with the post-it?
Yes, I did.
And as part of discovery, were you aware that we turned that letter over to Mr. Kelberg?
I had no idea what your discovery processes are.
But he had the same copy of the letter that we had, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
And he had the same post-it on it.
Yes, he did.
So you weren't trying to hide anything from the jury about that, were you?
No, I wasn't.
And did you demonstrate some concern about not being able to find that in your file when Mr. Kelberg asked you about that yesterday?
Yes, I did.
And what did you do in that regard?
I had reviewed my chart on that late Thursday night after talking to you, and I remembered that it wasn't in the part of my notes that I reviewed, but in fact it was misfiled in a different part of this chart here. Hadn't seen it.
Did you take time on your own to try to find that?
Yes, I did
Did
last
anybody
night.
ask you to do that?
No, they didn't.
And did you find that?
Yes, I did.
And did you give it to Mr. Kelberg this morning?
Yes, I did.
And is that the same copy of the letter that Mr. Kelberg already had?
Yes, it is.
Had you ever been asked by a criminal lawyer before to write a summary of your findings so that they could be turned over in a procedure we call discovery?
No, I had never participated in that.
Were you asked to do that?
Yes, I was.
Was it a truthful summary of your findings that you wrote to Mr. Douglas?
Yes, it was absolutely truthful.
Why did you ask that question? Is this all right?
I had no idea how long he wanted the summary to be, whether he wanted it a half a page or 5 pages. I made it 1 page, and I wasn't sure whether that was the type of in-depth presentation of the problems that he felt was appropriate given the report he wanted me to generate.
Your question had nothing to do with accuracy or integrity of the report, but more the form of the report,
That's correct.
what we would call form over substance.
Sustained.
You have never done any type of report like that before, have you?
No, I have not.
Have you ever done any since?
No, I have not.
And that's not something you do when you do your patient evaluation the way you did for Mr. Simpson in the ordinary course of your practice, isn't that correct?
That's correct.
Now, in examining Mr. Simpson, you told us that you diagnosed a lymph node under his armpit.
That is correct.
Did that concern you as a doctor?
Very much so.
Why did that concern you?
Because given the whole constellation of his complaints, I was concerned that that could indicate some sort of infection, cancer, or other acute process that needed to be resolved in the middle of everything else that was going on, and it presented many medical as well as organizational problems to properly treat that problem. When you see an ordinary patient, you don't have the pressures that were faced in this in terms of time, availability of the patient, and other issues.
Were you later advised that Mr. Simpson was going to be charged with a crime?
Yes, I was.
And did that have any effect on speeding up your next examination of Mr. Simpson?
Yes, it did.
What effect did that have?
Well, we needed to get in and draw more blood tests and put skin tests on to evaluate some of the possibilities for that abnormal lymph node.
That wasn't to prepare any type of defense in this case, was it?
None whatsoever.
That was because you were told that Mr. Simpson would be going to jail?
That's correct.
And in your experience in this case, have you found it is more difficult to treat a patient in jail?
It is more difficult to treat a patient in jail than in the usual Beverly Hills setting.
And did you continue your treatment of Mr. Simpson for this lymph node?
Yes, I did.
Tell the jury what you did regarding that.
Well, it was a very difficult situation because I was told when he went into jail that the admitting doctor who examined him said he didn't have a lymph.
Your Honor, I'll move to strike as non-responsive. counsel. The question is, what
Yes,
did
it
you
is. Yes. What did you do?
What did you do to follow up on that lymph node, if anything?
Followed up on the blood test and tried to gain access into the hospital so that I could have a cancer specialist evaluate the patient.
So this is not something you did on your own, but you again went to a subspecialist.
That is correct. After initially going to a infectious disease specialist with the initial batch of results and feeling that that probably wasn't our first line of attack.
Did you also consult with the jail physician
Yes, I did.
on this very issue?
Yes, I did.
And was there a difference of opinion between yourself and the jail physician?
Yes, there was.
is calling for hearsay, lack of foundation?
Overruled.
And how did that opinion differ?
That opinion differed because I was told the doctor that evaluated him on the night he went into the hospital felt there was no lymph node.
And you believe there was?
And I had believed that there was, correct.
Tell the jury what you had to do to follow up on this and what steps you had to go through to properly treat Mr. Simpson.
That's not particularly relevant. What he actually did, what treatment he got, is relevant.
Would you answer the judge's question? What you actually did and what treatment you got?
What kind of testing did you arrange for and where and when?
After initially going through all his first batch of tests with a infectious disease specialist informally, since it was very difficult to gain access into the jail, I made arrangements first to get myself back in the jail to try to assess his lymph node as well as other continuing problems with the night sweats. And then when I ascertained that the lymph node was in fact still there, over a period of time arranged to have a cancer specialist get admittance into the jail and feel the lymph node to feel whether he felt it was a benign node or a pathological node based on his examination.
And what took place after that?
Well, Dr. Greg Sarna saw him in the jail and felt that there was, given his history and physical examination that he conducted in the jail infirmary, that there was up to a 10% chance that given this history and physical, he had something in the range of a Hodgkin's type cancer, and a 90% chance that it was some other benign or infectious disease.
And what was the recommendation that was made based on that evaluation?
The recommendation made was to have him hospitalized and to excise this index right axillary node.
Was that done?
Yes, it was.
And did the node in fact exist?
Yes, it did.
The jail doctor was wrong.
The initial admitting jail physician was incorrect in his initial assessment.
Did this have anything whatsoever to do with the defense of O.J. Simpson in this case?
None whatsoever.
Did you do any further studies relating to any issues regarding the defense of O.J. Simpson in this case?
The only other issues that I did were on the evaluation of the cancer on the 17th. I drew extra blood relating to his hematologic status, whether or not he had any proclivity to bleed or clot more quickly than the normal at the bequest of Dr. Bodden.
And what was the result of that?
The result of that was that it appeared like his coagulation studies were normal, although there were a couple very esoteric tests that were borderline and suggested a possibility of a very minor tendency to bleed more than what would be considered normal.
And Dr. Bodden is a forensic pathologist?
Yes, he is.
And his job is, well, do you know what his job is? Do you know what he does for a living?
He's a forensic pathologist, to my understanding.
And he does autopsies for the state of New York?
That was my understanding, right.
Have you ever done an autopsy outside of medical school?
No, I have not. We've watched limited autopsies as part of a teaching process in the hospital. Occasionally, patients that expire in the teaching situation in the hospital, we will go down and have early morning autopsy viewings and discussions of organs.
You didn't do an autopsy of the decedents in this case.
No, I did not.
You didn't see any photographs of the decedents in this case.
No, I did not.
Did that have anything to do with your examination of O.J. Simpson?
No, it did not.
Have you ever been asked to give an opinion of a decedent's injuries on a hand the way Mr. Kelberg asked you to?
No, I never have.
Was that your purpose in coming here, to give an opinion on the injuries of a decedent?
No, it wasn't.
Did you go to the crime scene in this case?
No, I have not.
Did you talk to criminalists in this case?
No, I have not.
That's not your function, is it?
No, it is not.
Oh, I put the wrong one on. It's not fair. Yesterday, Josh walks into the OJ stream, and he's like, "Do you have the loopy thing clicked?" I had my microphone off, but I'm like, "Yeah." And then I looked, and I'm like, "Oh, no, I didn't." I said, "But I do now. This is the exact gestures I was making, but I do now." Yesterday. This is the exact same window that's open. I didn't close it, minimize it, nothing. This thing is this, but it was not clicked today. Not clicked. I'm not muted now. It's just not fair. It's not fair. Why is YouTube messing with us? Why did they change things? I can see that the loop video is clicked right now. So, but we'll see. I'll just triple check tomorrow before I leave that it's clicked. My daughter came up and fixed it. My other daughter. I was driving my daughter to school, so my daughter came up and fixed my daughter. Oh, I'm coming. And my dog wants in.
Before you were asked these questions, other than on general knowledge, did you have any specific knowledge as to how these murders took place?
None whatsoever.
Let me ask you a general question. Describe to ladies and gentlemen of the jury the basic range of patients you see by age.
Well, we probably see individuals all the way from 15 up to, I think my oldest patient is 101, 102.
Excluding the young and the very old and the infirmed, is there any patient that you treat that would not be capable of handling a knife?
I really don't believe that there is. I think all of them could.
Is there any patient that you treat that would not be capable of cutting someone with a knife?
No, not unless they had a fracture on that arm or some type of obvious deformity.
And would you give the same answer to the general population of Southern California with the exclusion of the young, the old, and the infirmed?
I think that would be a fair statement.
Do you see, you saw the video here, obviously.
Yes, I did.
And that's only part of the video, isn't it?
That is true.
You saw a complete video that we showed you, is that correct?
That's correct.
And in that complete video, it shows Mr. Simpson drinking lots of water. Does it not?
That is true.
And it shows Mr. Simpson talking about flights on airplanes.
That's true.
And jet lag.
That is true.
Do you recommend for your patients between the ages of 15 and 101 any type of physical exercise?
Recommend physical exercise to all my patients.
Why?
Because I think it's very good for your health.
And are there different levels of physical exercise that you recommend?
Absolutely.
And what do they range from?
Well, they range from basically, in the case of my 101-year-old patient, telling her to walk around her house on her walker on a daily basis, to discussing workout plans with professional athletes.
Regarding the video that you just saw, would you recommend that to any particular age group of patients you have?
I think that that's a very low impact, and it's relatively straightforward aerobically, and so that sort of level of exercise would probably be more appropriate for very healthy individuals, maybe all the way up to, you know, both men and women, assuming that you did kind of knee push-ups all the way in the mid-70s or higher, certainly should be able to do what we saw on that tape.
The actual push-ups would take additional shoulder strength?
I think, yeah, additional pec strength, you know, if we expected people of that age group to do push-ups.
I noticed you taking some notes during the playing of the video. Did you notice any breaks within that video?
Yes, I did.
And would you describe those to the jury as to what effect that would have on somebody doing the movements rather in that video?
Well, obviously, when you take a break, you know, you recharge your batteries in terms of your aerobic mechanism, and your heart rate's going to come way down, and so you're not going to, you know, like running a treadmill, you're not going to, you know, poop out when you have those rest periods. In terms of the movements for certain types of arthritis, actually moving may help limber the joints a little bit. Certainly osteoarthritis, you know, sometimes after moving somewhat, you can warm up the joints a little bit.
Now, Mr. Kelberg spent a lot of time talking to you about your
Sustained or physically.
asked a lot of questions. Is that okay? Asked you questions about professional football players.
Correct.
Do you know when the last time Mr. Simpson played in a professional football game was?
I would assume it was somewhere around 1980.
About 15 years ago?
That's correct.
As somebody who's familiar with sports, are you familiar with the Old Timers baseball game?
I've heard it mentioned. I've never seen that.
Have you ever heard of an Old Timers football game?
No, I have not.
Do you know why they don't have one?
Because they're all in orthopedics office.
Regarding your experience with professional football players, are there positions known as skilled positions?
Yes, there are.
And what does that refer to?
A skill position is something in terms of a wide receiver, quarterback, running back.
Mr. Simpson was a running back?
Yes, he was.
So he would qualify in a skilled position.
That's correct.
And in your experience, do players in skilled positions have to be mad to play football?
No, they don't.
Do they have to be angry to play football?
No, they don't.
Are you aware that Mr. Simpson, through his 4 years of college and 15 years in the NFL, carried the ball more times than any other runner in that period of history?
That's what I understand, right.
And was his job to tackle people?
No, it wasn't.
Was his job to block people?
No, it wasn't.
Was his job to try to run away from people and score a touchdown?
That's correct.
And if he didn't score a touchdown, what would happen to him when he was carrying the ball?
He'd get hit from various angles.
And if he carried the ball more than any other player in the history of the NFL up till that period of time, and in college up till that period of time, would you say then he was hit more than any other player?
Certainly, he would be hit certainly while playing games more, and you know, practices would certainly add to that toll.
What's the effect of, on a running back carrying a football, being hit by one or more other players in a tackle?
When you get hit, in terms of the joints, you may occasionally damage ligaments and bony structures.
And is that something that you would expect to find in a retired running back?
That is something that may occur in a retired running back, sure.
Was Mr. Simpson the type of player who had the reputation of being a friendly football player?
I think that's a correct statement.
Are you aware that in the 15 years that he played football, he was only involved in one fight?
Sustained.
You can make an offer of proof, Your Honor. Are you aware that football players would pick him up after he was tackled?
Hold on.
You can answer that question.
Yes, I believe that's also correct.
In fact, that happened when UCLA played USC, didn't it? So he was a friendly sort of player.
Sorry.
They didn't have to pick him up. Next question.
He was not the type of player
I don't
that
wanna
was played
look.
with anger.
I don't
In
know
your
what.
opinion?
In my opinion, that's correct.
I don't. Now.
Not this.
Not
this
muted.
Type of adrenaline rush. Would that be the same for anyone who's in an
Not
emergency
muted.
situation?
That's correct.
That's human behavior. That's not limited to.
Okay, guys. I am having a spot of drama in my life right now. And while I took my daughter to work right now, my mother came to my house and started some shit with my children. And then I looked on my Facebook messages and my niece anyway. So I forgot to unmute. I did forget to mute. But that's because behind this screen, everything is burning down. Everything is burning down. Josh, that would be awesome if I could give you the ability to press play for me while I'm gone, except it's just a computer program on my screen. It's not like browser based so that you could do that. So that would be great, but I just need to get my shit together. And when I started the O.J. Simpson trials with you guys, my daughter didn't have a job. So I didn't have plans every morning at 7:30. Who plans to have plans every day at 7:30 in the morning? That's just an insane time for someone to have plans every day. So this came out of the blue. So I have to take my daughter to work because she makes money. And I don't want to stop the OJs. So that means every once in a while we go through some bumps in the road. But my other daughter was here to catch it. I wish she was faster, but you know, she didn't have to help me, and she did. So she got you guys up and running as fast as she could. Yeah, but she didn't have a regular job when I first started the OJ. I was a server, and servers don't start work at 8:30 in the morning. I don't have to go. No, she came and left while I was gone. She doesn't ever come here while I'm here. But yeah, but it's all good. I'm zen. I'm in the vibe. I'm listening to OJ, and then I'm gonna watch me mute like a pro. Boop.
To football players, is it?
That is correct.
And in fact, you talked about the fear syndrome. Would you say that adrenaline reaction would be the same if somebody was being attacked by more than one person with a knife?
That is correct.
And would that cause them to fight back?
I would certainly expect that.
And would you expect that they might fight back with more strength than they ordinarily would have?
I'll object, because outside the field of expertise, he said he's not a forensic pathologist.
Overruled.
That's a very logical assumption to me.
You were asked a hypothetical question by Mr. Kelberg, and he listed a series of 10 witnesses, and he said if some of these witnesses or one of these witnesses did not see Mr. Simpson limping. You remember that question?
Correct?
Let me ask you another hypothetical. If an individual by the name of Jim McKay came to this court and testified that he had never met O.J. Simpson before, and on June the 8th of 1994 he played golf with him, and as a complete stranger he observed Mr. Simpson to be limping, would that confirm the conclusions you reached on June the 15th?
That would certainly corroborate what I saw on the 15th.
And do you believe that as a doctor with a trained eye, you might be able to detect something that a layperson would call a limp more easily than a layperson who is not trained with your background, experience, and education?
Yes.
You were asked questions about Dr. Martell and x-rays of the elbow.
That is correct.
Did you review any other x-rays that Mr. Kelberg didn't ask you about from Dr. Martell?
I did not review those particular x-rays.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I got sent a copy of Dr. Martell's findings.
There were some other findings that you wanted to relate in response to a question from Mr. Kelberg relating to Dr. Martell. Is that correct?
Overruled.
Dr. Martell basically read the elbows as being normal. And basically what I was starting to say when he asked me that question or read that thing off the report was that you can have rheumatoid arthritis of the elbow and you can have flexion contractures, that's a possibility, and still have a normal x-ray appearance. It's a difficult call. This is why you have specialists. That certainly isn't in my bailiwick, but that's what I was starting to bring up with him.
After 2 days of cross-examination,
Overruled.
is your opinion any different as to whether or not Mr. Simpson had any bruises on him when you observed him on the 15th of June?
No, it is not.
After 2 days of cross-examination, is your opinion that the cut on the top of the middle finger of the left hand was more consistent with glass?
I felt that was more consistent with glass because as it came around, it curved initially. If you remember the picture over his third, let's go to the left hand and do it the right way. As it curved, it came right over the joint, and then it took an acute angle, approximately 60 degrees, and then that acute angle, to me, said, sure, it could be a knife, there could be movement, but to me that said, that's why I fell off of the fence on that cut as being more consistent with glass.
Assume that on Monday, June the 13th, Mr. Simpson, let me just check this date for a second. In the afternoon, a nurse employed by the County of Los Angeles named Mr. Paratus was called upon to examine Mr. Simpson's left hand and assume that the only injury that he talked about was the cut that you have just described as a fishhook cut. Would that cause you to conclude that the injuries on the side of the finger were not there at that time?
Sustained.
Would a nurse be in a position, a county nurse be in a position to see the cuts that you've described to the jury, in your opinion, if he was properly trained and certified?
I believe that would be true.
And if the nurse did not observe those cuts on the 12th, would that indicate that they occurred sometime after the 12th, and would that be consistent with your findings?
Overruled.
That would be consistent.
Is the cut on the index finger of Mr. Simpson consistent with somebody who broke a drinking glass that you would find in a hotel bathroom?
The fourth finger, you said index.
The middle finger.
The middle finger, okay. This cut The proximal or the distal? There's 2 cuts on that 3rd finger.
I made a mistake. Mr. Cochran has corrected me. He works for the city of Los Angeles, the nurse. Would that change your opinion rather than the county?
No, it would not.
Let's get back to glass. Have you been, when you travel with their football teams, do you guys stay in hotels around the country?
Yes, we do.
Did you go in the bathroom?
Yes, you would.
They have little glasses there with kind of little doilies on the bottom and a little kind of top thing on top that says sanitary with a little blue signia on it.
That's correct.
You familiar with those glasses?
Yes, I am.
If that glass was broken when somebody was informed of the death of their ex-wife, could that type of glass cause that type of injury?
Objection, Your Honor, is an improper hypothetical.
Sustained.
Could a drinking glass similar to those glasses that you've observed account for that type of injury?
On the proximal 3rd
Yes.
finger? Yes, that cut is consistent.
Now Mr. Kelberg asked you questions, and I don't remember the names of them, I'm not that familiar with them, about some kind of cells. He had one name for it, you had another name for some kind of healing cells?
He named it phagocytes. I think, I'm not...
And you
it's a
called it
confusing question.
monocytes?
Well, he said that you start out with a wound and you have phagocytes there, but really you start out in an inflammatory phase with neutrophils, and then it moves to monocytes, which another name for it can be the phagocytes.
Okay. In any regard, whatever they're called, in the healing process,
Right.
he talked about confusion. Are you confused as to whether the jagged edges were caused by cutting glass or by the healing process?
That misstates the testimony.
No, I am not.
What is your opinion?
My opinion is that those injuries were caused by a sharp object, and they are more consistent with glass than a knife, but they were caused by a sharp object.
May I have a moment to confer with my colleagues before I finish, Your Honor?
Sir.
Yo, I wish I owned a storage unit company. You have you have a whole bunch of units. People can sign up for a run online without even talking to a human. Pay for it, get a code. The gate automatically opens. They go in. You don't even have to go there. You just collect your money every month. And then if someone doesn't pay you, they just auction off your unit and probably get more than what your back paid.
In your experience, Doctor, with professional football players, have you seen occasions when they act irrational?
Yes, I have.
And do you have any opinion as to the cause of those types of actions?
Yes, anabolic steroids.
Did you run a test on Mr. Simpson to see whether or not he was using anabolic steroids when you saw him on June the 15th?
Yes, I did.
And what was the result of that test?
Negative.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Mr. Kalberg, how much time do you need to cross-examine?
Doctor, did you ever
Excuse me,
prescribe?
counsel. How much time do you need to cross-examine?
I'm not going to finish by noon, I'm quite sure.
How much time do you need to
17
cross-examine?
more
Maybe 20
weeks.
minutes?
Proceed.
25 minutes? Doctor, did you prescribe the Xanax for the stress that you assessed on June 15th from Mr. Simpson?
Objection, improper. Cross-examination.
No, I did not.
To your knowledge, did someone prescribe for him Xanax?
I referred him to a psychiatrist, so I can't speak for that.
Is Xanax a depressant?
Xanax is an anti-anxiety drug.
And doctor, is one of its side effects that it can make people sleepy?
That is correct.
Now, doctor, I want to discuss a few things that were touched upon by Mr. Shapiro. First of all, he said no old-timers NFL games. There are old-timer hockey games, aren't there?
I'm not aware of that. That's possibly true.
Hockey's a pretty violent sport, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And people sustain severe knee injuries in that sport, correct?
That is correct.
And in fact, one of the typical defensive actions in hockey is something called checking, right?
That's correct.
And one type of checking is to slam your body into the body of an opposing player, and the two bodies go slamming into the boards, right?
That's correct.
And that,
Whether or not other sports have old-timer games is interesting, but not real productive here.
all right, perhaps I should have objected as irrelevant on the NFL, but I'll move to something else. Doctor, you were talking about getting patients. Do you accept insurance?
No, I do not.
So I thought you said you billed Mr. Simpson's insurance company for the care you provided. Is that a misstatement?
We build SAG, and then typically, we ask the patient to pay the remainder.
Are you on any kind of HMO panels?
No, I am not.
So all of your patients have to be patients who can pay your bills, is that correct?
That's correct.
And your practice is in Beverly Hills, is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Do you have it like an hourly rate, or how do you charge patients
We
for
charge-
general exams?
Charge based on examinations or lab tests that are done in the office.
And if I came to you, maybe I better not choose myself, if somebody came to you for a first evaluation, what would be the typical cost of such an evaluation? Oh, well,
It would be quite variable. Anywhere, it would all depend on exactly what was done.
well, in general, doctor, you described what is a general initial evaluation, Beverly Hills standards, Mr. Shapiro asked you about. What's the cost of that?
I would say something like for a thorough physical exam, somewhere around $1,000, 600,000.
Now, doctor, you said in response to Mr. Shapiro's question that you cared about Mr. Simpson,
That's correct.
You cared about his health?
That's correct.
You care if he's acquitted?
You build a bond with patients. When you see a patient and you evaluate them, you have to care about them. If you don't care about them, you really wouldn't be able to be their doctor.
And isn't it that care, that closeness you develop with the patient that can subconsciously influence those subjective evaluations that you admitted on cross-examination doctors make, such as in Mr. Simpson's case?
Sustain.
Doctor, when you develop a closeness and fondness for a patient, in your opinion, can that affect your objectivity in evaluating the patient's case?
Anything is possible, but you have to fight to try to minimize that or eliminate it.
For example, doctor, isn't it the case that physicians are taught to send family members to independent doctors for evaluations because of concern that your relationship with the patient may cloud your judgment?
That is correct.
Incidentally, you talked about a family doctor. There is a specialty of medicine, a board-certified specialty called family medicine. Isn't that correct, doctor?
I'm lacking in my knowledge of that exact fact.
Well, you talked about some residency programs. Are you familiar with whether Cedars has a residency program in family medicine?
They did not when I was there in my training.
That's 83 you ended your training?
That's correct.
Now, doctor, you were asked some questions about whether or not Mr. Simpson went to Dr. Jobe and to Dr. Maltz before June 12th of 1994 in some effort to set up a defense to the crimes, and you indicated to your belief he did not, correct?
That's correct.
On the other hand, doctor, if you assume hypothetically Mr. Simpson murdered his ex-wife and Mr. Goldman, would you agree that he would have a motive after the crime to come limping into your office for the visit arranged by his lawyer, Mr. Shapiro, in an effort to make it appear that he may have physical limitations to his ability to have acted on June 12th?
Sustained improper hypothetical rephrase question.
Doctor, would you agree that there was no way that you could determine objectively on June 15th whether Mr. Simpson's limp that caused you to believe he moved like Tarzan's grandfather was legitimate or one that was put on in an effort to convey a condition that was weaker than he truly was? You had no objective way to determine that, did you?
There is an objective way to attempt to evaluate that by looking at joints, and it appeared to me, given his left knee and what didn't appear to be a problem in the video, his right ankle, sometimes a limp can intensify when you have two weight-bearing joints that are affected. As you point out, and I absolutely have to agree with you, there can be malingering on certain levels in orthopedics, but that was my best determination at the time.
By the way, doctor, you talked about some difficulties with the jail. You were able to get Mr. Simpson to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center for the biopsy, correct?
That is correct.
And in your opinion, his care was not compromised in any way, was it, with respect to evaluation of that lymph node for possible sign of cancer, correct?
If there had been an acute problem, it might have been, because I really couldn't get access for several weeks into the jail.
and it turned out that it was benign,
That's
correct?
absolutely correct.
Your Honor, I'm going to ask Mr. Farrow. I was going to ask Mr. Farrow. Could I ask Mr. Harris if you could help me out to put something on?
I
Doctor,
show
I'm going to
this?
show you a couple pictures.
Show this to counsel first.
I am going to do so right now. It's the photograph.
All right. All right, use the photograph, Mr. Kelber.
I'm sorry?
Proceed.
If Mr. Shapiro will give me the, I'm sorry, I'm not clear. May I proceed with the photograph, Your Honor? Or
What is it a photograph of?
photographs of hands of sufferers of rheumatoid arthritis.
Proceed.
And I don't know, Mr. Harris, is it possible you could turn it 90 degrees? Can I hold it in any way to help you out? Can you back it up possibly? That was better, actually. I think you had it. I'm sorry. All right. We're going to get dizzy. That's fine. That's fine. Doctor, and I can bring you the text. I just want to be able to show it for the ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Do these appear to be hands of people suffering from various stages of rheumatoid arthritis?
Yes, they do.
And it can be a very crippling disease, can it not?
That is correct.
Mr. Simpson did not have joint deformity of any degree similar to even the lower photograph, let alone the upper photograph, did he, sir?
Certainly not the upper photograph where you have in-stage ulnar deviation. I really can't evaluate the proximal, the lower picture to compare that.
Could I ask
Very
if
well.
Mr. Harris can print this picture, and then I'm going to show the book to the doctor so you can see it up close. May I approach, Your Honor? Doctor, I'm showing you this book, and Your Honor, may the printout be marked as, I think we're at 526?
Yes.
The initial picture, as the text describes, is synovial perforation of the MCP joints, to a lesser extent of the proximal interphalangeal joints. If you look at his hands and the swellings there, and we can argue about hard versus boggy swellings, you know, I think that they're roughly comparable. We can argue about exactly what their origin is.
And you
but-
feel comfortable with your expertise in rheumatology to do that, is that correct?
No,
Doctor?
I do not.
Well, Doctor, I wanted to ask you, when Mr. Shapiro on direct examination was asking you a series of questions about causes of cuts and so forth, did it ever occur to you to say, it's outside my field of expertise?
Sustained phrase question.
Doctor, did you ever feel it was outside of your field of expertise in answering any of the questions posed to you by Mr. Shapiro?
Sustained. Rephrase the question.
With respect to any question asking for an opinion of the injury sustained by Mr. Simpson, did you feel that to offer an opinion on such subject was outside your field of expertise?
No, I did not.
When you were asked hypothetical questions by me, did you ever say, with respect to the blunt force trauma injuries to Mr. Goldman and the abrasions to Mr. Simpson, that it was outside your field of expertise to offer an opinion and therefore you should not offer an opinion?
There was an objection by counsel.
Full rule.
You may answer the question, Doctor. Did you ever say that? It was outside your field of expertise?
I think when we showed those autopsy photos, I may have said that. I don't have, you'll have to kind of read back that question.
Doctor, if you felt that in answering any hypothetical question asked by me, it was outside your field of expertise, did you feel you could say so?
Your Honor, I'm going to object. We objected to it.
Overruled.
And he was ordered.
You,
Overruled.
Your Honor, I would ask the court, with
No,
respect to
proceed.
speaking objection.
Proceed.
Doctor, you may answer the question.
Could you
Did
give-
you feel that if it was a question calling for an opinion outside your field of expertise, that you could answer that it was outside your field of expertise and you could not answer the question?
I think as a baseline from my testimony, I have said I wasn't an expert in these various areas. You have asked me many, many questions in every area of expertise. Some of the areas you asked me questions actually, quote unquote, don't have, as you put it, a board certified specialty, and that one of those would be the area of the cuts. But there were there's no board certification for someone that evaluates whether when someone walks into an office, it's a knife or it's a glass cut on an outpatient. Obviously, forensic pathologists deal with that, but that is an area that we see a lot. And so I offered an opinion, but that's all it was based on the experience that I did give you. And you asked me many other hypothetical questions, some of which, I gave you as truthful an answer as I could, but there were instances where I may have said things that, in fact, I didn't have any direct knowledge of. And I can think of one such question that I was staying up a little bit last night thinking about, and that was when you asked me if someone had brutally killed 2 people after I had said that Mr. Simpson was under a lot of stress. If they had brutally killed 2 people, would that be a lot on their mind? And as I was thinking about that last night, that would be my opinion. If I put myself in my own body, I would think that would be true. But then again, I've never talked to a convicted murderer. I've never had any contact with a murderer that was convicted at any point in my life. And really, there's an example where I should have said, I really don't have any idea what type of emotional reaction a cold-blooded killer has, because when I was thinking about that late last night, I think that's one of the things that I did regret saying that I definitely did say.
My question to you was, Doctor, did you feel that you could say, it's outside my field of expertise, I can't answer the question. Did you feel that was an answer you could give in a court of law as a witness having taken an oath if it was a question that you felt was outside your field of expertise? That's the question, yes or no. Did you feel you could, or did you feel you couldn't?
I felt that it was my responsibility to try to answer the questions as best I could, given the caveat that everybody knew what my credentials were and weren't.
I'll ask the question one more time, Doctor.
I think we've asked the question.
All right. Doctor, have you ever had patients who were involved in civil litigation?
Yes, I have.
Have you ever had to prepare reports for attorneys in civil litigation?
Yes, I have.
And the fact that this is a criminal case versus your past experience in civil litigation, how, if at all, does that affect the kind of report you were to prepare?
I was told that my records were not going to be passed over and that I had to prepare a summary. I've never, ever been asked that request previously in my professional career.
Have you ever been retained by an attorney, either for the plaintiff in a civil personal injury action or a defendant, an insurance company, for example, to evaluate a patient and give a report to the requesting party of that evaluation?
I have, in a handful of cases, reviewed charts in legal matters, often about sports medicine and anabolic steroids.
Have you prepared?
If I've done that, it's been very rarely. I really can't remember a case right off the top of my head. It's possible that I've done that once or twice.
And when you've done that, have you prepared reports for the party requesting you to review the record?
I just can't remember a case where I've had a patient come in who, maybe I can remember one case or 2 cases, and I must have prepared a report for them.
Now, Doctor, you did see what you said, I think, originally was the commercial video.
That's correct.
And all of the aerobic exercise that we see in that type of environment is included in the commercial video. Some of what we saw, because they did multiple takes, is not included in the commercial video, correct?
That's correct.
And the commercial video also has Mr. Simpson taking golf swings and shooting a basketball and so forth. Is that correct?
That's correct.
But there is no segment of this commercial tape dealing with the aerobic exercises of the type we were looking at in the exhibit, which is has been, I'm sorry, let me rephrase the question. The commercial tape does not have all of the aerobic exercise we saw on the exhibit.
That's correct.
But it does have at least one segment of each type of the activity. Is that a fair statement?
That's a fair statement.
So you didn't feel misled, did you, by seeing what is actually more footage of Mr. Simpson than is provided in the commercial video regarding his ability to perform these types of aerobic exercises?
No, I did not.
By the way, Doctor, in looking at that video, did you see where Mr. Simpson, in some segments, the boxing segments, for example, was able to fully extend his right and left arms?
No, I did not see that.
Never saw. I'm sorry.
In my opinion, in doing those boxing punches, it was relatively clear that the fixed flexion contractions were there, and he was not able to fully extend his arms in any shot there.
I don't know what they're doing, the prosecution. I don't know what they're thinking for this whole
You saw
trial.
him do push-ups, did you not?
Yes, I did.
And did you see, at least in some instances, where he was doing push-ups with both his left and right hands palms to the surface of the floor?
Yes, I did.
And what is the angle that was required for him to do that and do a push-up as he was doing them, that is a traditional push-up, unlike the trainer at one point where the trainer was on his knees? What's the angle of flexion?
A traditional push-up, you'll get right under your chest, and you'll go, you know, not all the way back 90 degrees necessarily, but you'll come close. What he would do is he would kind of manipulate. You could see him kind of stumble a little bit when he would get up and go down, and he would get that left hand a little bit further out front so that he didn't have to bring that thing up to 90 degrees. So he would do his push-ups with his hands out in front so that that inability to bring back his hand, he could compensate for that when he did the push-ups.
But in fact, that would place more weight bearing on the hand in that position than if it were in the more traditional position closer to the chest, wouldn't it, sir?
Place weight where?
Make it a more difficult procedure in placing his weight in going down and up, pushing down and up. He's got to exert more effort because he hasn't got his hands in the most opportune position physiologically. Isn't that correct?
I agree with that.
And he was able to do that, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
And he did it multiple times.
Yes, he did.
Now, doctor, my hypothetical on that video was all those shots were done in one day. You remember that, don't you?
Yes, I do.
And the breaks were maybe 6 minutes or 7 minutes. Did you write down the times?
Yes, I did.
Some of them were around 6 or 7 minutes?
Some of them were as long as from 6:27:32 to 16:41:06. So again, this is higher math, but that's 14 minutes. But some it looked like were 6 minutes. I'll take your word for that.
Well, no, don't take my word, doctor. If you wrote down the time, you tell us the amount of time of breaks that you wrote down.
All right, now you're gonna test my.
Counsel, this is a minor issue.
All right. I will move on.
Judge,
talked
you could
about
have said
adrenaline
that
rush,
7
doctor.
months
Is that
ago.
correct?
Yes, I did.
Have you heard of it referred to in terms of the fight or flight response?
Yes, I have.
And if Mr. Goldman was being attacked by a more powerful individual who had the element of surprise and an approximately 6-inch long knife at Mr. Goldman's throat, would you expect under those circumstances that Mr. Goldman's physiological response would be an adrenaline rush?
Sustained.
Doctor, would you agree that if a person is threatened with imminent great bodily harm, that that is the kind of circumstance which can cause the adrenaline automatically to begin flowing?
I think that's a fair statement.
And doctor, would you agree that the normal reaction of a human being facing danger is to run from the danger if at all possible?
Sustained.
Doctor, you have reviewed in your training as a physician basic physiology, have you not?
Yes, I have.
And in basic physiology, they talk about the fight or flight response, don't they, sir?
Yes, they do.
And you learned that the normal human reaction physiologically to a threat of great bodily injury or death is to try and flee, if possible. Isn't that correct?
Overruled.
You may answer the question, doctor.
Your normal reaction is to try to protect yourself and save your life in whatever manner is possible.
And generally that is to flee if possible. Isn't that correct?
Sustained.
Doctor, if Mr. Goldman had no place to go, he tried to flee and he's flailing his arms backwards in trying to get away from an attacker who is more powerful than he, and he is stabbed multiple times with fatal stab wounds, would you agree that he would not have had the opportunity in such an attack that may have taken less than a minute to flee?
Sustained.
Doctor, would you agree that the more rapid the assault, the threat of death or great bodily injury on the human being, the less time the person has to react, either by way of flight or by way of fight?
Objection, speculation, comment.
Sustained.
Doctor, with respect to Mr. Simpson and a congenial football player, he didn't have to get angry, or I don't want to misquote the way the question was asked by Mr. Shapiro. Would you expect that Mr. Simpson, when he is trying to break through linemen who may weigh 300 pounds trying to tackle him, was probably not smiling as he did so?
I think that when you're breaking through 300-pound linemen, you're in a zone. You know, I don't know if he was smiling or had his tongue hanging out or what, but I can't answer that.
And that zone is the harnessing of your energies to try and get a peak performance from your muscles to get you through and past, if possible, what is that impeding force of a 300-pound defensive tackle, right?
I think the harnessing is occurring, but there are also many other factors in terms of talent level. You know, if it was just a question of harnessing, you know, a lot of the rest of us would have a shot to play professional ball. So I think that's maybe only a minor component.
Would you agree that all players have to harness the energy?
Counsel, I think really the dynamics of professional sports is interesting.
Your Honor, I get, once again, the court's suggestion. May I have just a moment?
You may.
one last area, and that is, Mr. Shapiro asked you about any question that Mr. Simpson has arthritis and whether you changed your opinion after your examination. And I want to ask the further question, is it still your opinion that there is nothing from your findings of Mr. Simpson's physical condition on June 15, 1994, which prevents him from murdering 2 human beings, as you previously said he could do?
Objection. Ask the answer.
Overruled.
I believe that given the hypotheticals you've given me before in terms of someone that was in a fixed stationary position, does he have the strength to hold a knife, to wield a knife? I think the answer to that is yes.
My question, though, was to repeat the question that you were initially asked, that you said, yes, he had the physical capability to murder 2 human beings. Is that still your opinion? Yes or no?
Objection. Ask and answer. Misstates the question.
Overruled.
Given a list of hypotheticals, I'm not so sure whether he has the full capabilities to handle 2 people at once who both are able to flee. If individuals were taken or I don't really feel like I'm qualified to give you an absolute answer. He has some limitations which I've tried to describe, and I've said that he does have upper body strength, and he has certain limitations of his movement, certain difficulties we saw on the tape in terms of uncertainty getting off the ground and some slight stumbling motions. And we know at least on the 15th when I saw him, he had 2 joints that were hurting him and affected his ability to walk perfectly. I really can't state more than that, but certainly, as I've said before, given your hypotheticals, there was no medical impediment to holding a knife or slashing someone's throat based on my evaluation of his strength and his upper body evaluation.
Doctor, have you changed to this answer that you just gave from your previous answer, which was a direct yes, that he did have the physical capability to commit the murders, because you realize that your earlier answer will hurt Mr. Simpson on the issue of his guilt or innocence in this case? I have nothing.
Okay, and on that, I will let you know that... Wait, I'm just going to play one more minute because I think we might be done with him. Hold on, let's just look.
Madam Reporter.
Do you have patients to see this afternoon?
I hope so.
Nothing further.
All right. Doctor, thank you very much. You still
Yay!
excused?
May I ask Dr. Knockings, you don't anticipate the need to recall in the rebuttal, but I want...
We know where to find him. All right, Doctor, thanks a lot. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our break for the noon hour. Please remember all of my admonitions to you. Don't discuss.
It's not noon, Sally. If it was noon, I would be at work. I would be working. All right, guys. Thank you so much for coming out. I appreciate it. We got done with another witness today. So we're going to start a new witness tomorrow, and I don't know who it is, but it's probably something stupid. Oh, man, I really got to get on the Furman. I really got to get on the Furman before we get to him. I will be completely professional when that comes by. So it's not going to be Furman. Don't worry. You guys have a great day, and I will talk to you again soon. All right? Behave, guys. Bye.